and welcome to One Time In, a Europe's UK podcast sharing and celebrating tales of travel and international adventure. My name's Nathan.
And I'm Joseph.
And together we're going to be exploring some of those magical moments that really let you know you're in a different country, culture, or climate.
Today we're joined by Apeng, and Apeng's going to tell us a little bit of the time that he spent in New Zealand. Hi, Apeng.
Hello, Joseph. How are you?
Good, my friend. Welcome to Europe's UK podcast.
Good to be here. I'm glad to be part of the show.
I think what's interesting for us to be speaking to you is that you are from that little bit further away. So
yes, sir.
where are you calling from today? Why don't you tell us?
So I'm actually I was born in Malacca, which is a small state in Kuala Lumpur. So Kuala Lumpur is the capital city of Malaysia. So we are probably known because of our tallest twin tower in the world. Pretty much, it's a third world evolving countries. Yeah, man. I'm from Cal itself, born and raised. Currently working here as well, and happily married for the past year and a half. I'm doing very much good. I mean, we as in Kuala Lumpur, we are doing great in terms of combating the COVID pandemic. And alhamdulillah, everything went well now. Numbers are up and fluctuated a bit, but it doesn't cross that 5,000, 10,000, everything. So we're still under control, and the government are doing their very best to contain everything.
It's very good to hear. So why don't you tell us, without further ado, introduce your story to us? What are you going to tell us about New Zealand? We know New Zealand, but what else?
Yeah, man. New Zealand as a whole. I mean, here's the thing. What kickstarted me to travel by myself? It's because I was pretty much too comfort in my area or in my zone in terms of work-wise and pretty much everything. So a mate of mine came over and said that he just got back from New Zealand with his partner. So I was like, okay, so what intrigues you to go there? It's just like pretty much just learning about different cultures and being in one of the safest country in the world. So that just excites me the most because, after all, I'm a big fan of rugby. I play rugby myself. I'm a big fan of All Blacks. So that just gave me a second idea. It's like, you know what? Maybe this is a time for me to just do something else than ordinary that I've been doing for the past 26 years of my life. And I guess I always have the dream of traveling in Europe by myself before I turn 27. So, maybe I can just have these ideas of just transfer it from Europe, to Euro countries to just New Zealand and just going through from the top to the bottom. And I did that because of him. And it's just like, it's just one point of time that you just need to go out of your comfort zone. And I did some research and reviews. And, it's not easy for Malaysian to apply for the visa as well, because there are only about 1,150 spots are offered on yearly basis.
Wow.
Compared to other, man. I mean, compared to other Commonwealth countries, it would be instantly easy for you guys to just like click the flight. Sure. And you guys can just fly the next day, man.
I think that for the UK, actually, you don't even need a visa to even be able to. You can go to New Zealand, you just turn up on the doorstep, and you can stay there for 3 months. Maybe that's now changed with coronavirus and what have you. But last thing I heard, that's how it was. So I think that's something that we it's easy for us to take for granted a little bit in Western European countries. Yeah.
Yes, it's quite a comparison. So because I to be honest, I actually prepared about a year just to make this traveling happen. Due to the point of our currency is not as strong as the other countries, eh? So it equals me to save up a little bit more before I can just travel there. So I think pretty much about 8 months before I get myself there, and I'm the only one in the family. I'm the only kid. So it's not gonna be an easy journey for my mom to let me go or my dad to just like it's not a normal culture for an Asian thing as well, because we Malaysia are also part of Asian, and it wasn't an easy thing for me to do. So I told my mom about a month before I left, and my dad about a week before I left. So
wow.
With the ideas, yeah, mate. It's just like do or die thing.
And how long were you planning on going away for?
About a year, mate.
Wow.
What was their reaction to that when first your mum went, you told her 1 month before, and then your father a week before? And also, I think you need to thank your mother for not telling your father in those 3
Yeah,
weeks.
yeah. I mean, it is a thing because I'm quite close. I'm very close to her. I'm very close to my mom. It's not a really hard thing for me to tell her. It's just the ideas of I know how she's gonna react when I'm thinking I'm just gonna just buzz off from you, and in uncertain times. And mom was pretty cool, chill, done deal. So it was a big days, come to meet the sir, and then it's like, you know what, father, here's the thing. I don't think so. I'm gonna work for you for the company. So I have a different plan. So here's is my plan. So when I told him that I'm leaving Malaysia for the New Zealand, he was like, oh wow, that's good. Even in the Quran says that it's a good thing for you to travel to learn about yourself and the world. And I was like, wow,
Cool.
this man is old man. It's cool after all.
By the sounds of it, even for you to take that step and take that leap and start living an international kind of lifestyle, there was a lot of work that went in beforehand to make that happen.
Correct. I mean, like I said, there are the comparison between the European countries and also a small Asian countries or growing countries. So I'm grateful enough that I've been given the somewhat the what we call advantage as a Malaysia itself, compared to other Asian countries surrounding us, like Singapore. Singapore is always the best. They are the hub center of the world. They have the best among passport of the world. So I mean, I prepared the plan for about a year, and I got my plan, my flight tickets and the dates and everything. And what I always told myself is that once I got there, do not have any plan, just go with the flow. Like why? Because I work myself previously, before I started travel, I work as a planner or everything, like in post-production, in marketing, in business management. So I'm used to having things planned. And like this is the one time in life that I can just go crazy, being carefree, and just go out there and just enjoy. That's just one thing that I want to do. So when I got there, I have no plans, have no ideas, but obviously I do some research, like where I want to go, where I want to sleep, where everything, like what kind of jobs I want to do. So yeah, man, but the idea is always like just go with the flow, like whoever that you met, like learn as much as from them, because I always believe that everyone have their own story to tell. So that's the beauty of traveling for me at that point of time, because even though in just Auckland itself, when I got there, it's like the center of the cultural world. I can see, I even met a Finnish people, like a Finland person in my hostel. And I just got here from Malaysia, bro. Like, that's just amazing. That's just epic, bro. Like that distance and this country can just make me these whole people,
I always felt that, of course, there's a great deal of variety in your experiences that you can have in hostels, but at their best, hostels have this incredible potential to be like a real international hub where you can make connections that you just can't make in any other kind of setting, and there's something special about that.
Exactly. I mean, what I learned the most from the people in the hostel is that you really can't judge people by their appearances, because there was one time this is one guy I have a really good conversation with in Napier, and he looked like I wouldn't say homeless kind of thing, but it's like
in Napier, did you say? Sorry.
Yeah, in Napier.
And Napier is another city in New Zealand.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So he just looked very simple, very relaxed. Doesn't really dress that good. I mean, pretty much. I mean, everyone who's traveling is always like that, That's a common thing. So I never judge him. It's just that the conversation that we had made me really surprised. And when he informed me that he have 2 PhD in astrophysics and what was the other master in other thing. And I was like, dude, you don't look like a really smart person.
You look like you've made some bad decisions, man.
Yeah, I know, man.
Not good
I was like,
decisions. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like, so I was like, I should be calling you doctor rather than your name. I was like, that's just a thing. That's just a title. I had that title attained to me very much, to a point that I needed this travel. You know, I needed this trip. So because he's from the US, if I'm not mistaken, so he made the trip to New Zealand just to relax as well. You know, so those are the people that you would be surprised to meet in a hostel, my friend, not in a hotel.
Yeah, indeed.
You know, normally those kind of people you meet in a hotel, you know, in a conference, in a, you know, keynote meetings or whatever, not in a hotel, my friend. So for me, that have been dealing with people from C-level kind of people, you know, CFOs, CTOs, and CEOs, and to meet those kind of people, that what we call intellectual. That just amazed me, my friend. That's the beauty of travel. You know, that you really, I mean, you do not learn this kind of thing by just being in just one place or being comfortable in what you really are. And I always said that going to New Zealand is the best damn thing I ever did in my entire life.
No, really cool. And sorry to jump in as well, Apeng, but on that, it made me think of the quote that a lot of people say, and personally, I believe that you're a product of your environment. So,
exactly.
as you said, when you escape that environment and you go and see different things, you learn something new. But as you've just said, in that hostels and long-term traveling experiences, that is its own environment in itself. So, as you've just said, somebody who might not have looked it, but turned out to have 2 PhDs and one in astrophysics. Have you got any sort of more on the environment of being in a hostel, some of the people, what you've met, just to explain that environment? And I think that relates to why you grow so much from travel, because you then become part of that environment and a product of that. I hope I'm making sense. I'm just.
I think that's a good question.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I completely agree. That's kind of question. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm a Malaysian. I'm a Muslim, so it's not common for us to be in the same room with the other gender. You know, that would be a sin for Muslim to be in the same room with other gender, which is like male and female in the same room without being married. So that can cause a lot of troubles. You know, that can cause a lot of things. But I am a person that grew up being understanding this projectile of the world of modern country as well, because my mom is an English teacher, so it's always good that I was exposed to how the outside world, outside of just Malaysian and also Muslim understanding and belief, and growing up watching a lot of movies, it just brought me up of the ideas.
Was that so? How did it feel for you to be in that hostile environment then, where most typically there is no such division? Did it feel uncomfortable for you, or were you? How did it feel? I'm curious.
No, mate. I'm always excited to be around people all the time.
Yeah, I
know. So for me to being able to have that no barrier after all, it's such a bonus for me. Why? Because I never really had these hostel ideas. You know, I never stayed in what we call hostel. So when I finally got this opportunity, I traveled throughout the whole New Zealand. So I covered from Auckland. I went up a bit, went down. So I jumped off into a multiple hostel and multiple different type of people. But what I love the most about hostel is what we call the common room. So this common room is the place for me that's a mecca for everyone to just talk and meet and to learn about others. So that just excites me the most, because I get to learn more about other countries, and this is what I understand in terms of what we call understanding it by the local. Like, I know about Amsterdam because this guy from Amsterdam told me about it. Not just a friend of mine from Malaysia traveled to Amsterdam and told me these stories. It's just two different things, my friend. So for me, traveling and being in a hostel, being in the same room, the same people, is just excite me the most, like I said. Because, like I said, I'm at a point of time, I was 27 traveling. Surrounding me was like 18, 19, 20, or 25 the most. Why? Because this idea they don't know what they want to do in life, so that's why they just pack their bags and go to New Zealand. That's just a common 18 and 19 have been doing. Or like 22 and 23 that been studying, having this gap year, travel for a while, and then while they're traveling, they apply for the universities that they want to go or further studies. And that's one. So that's, for me, it's a good learning, because we Malaysian, we don't do that. We always like have this, by 17 you need to finish high school, 18 you directly need to go to the college, finish up maybe 3 to 4 years, and by the 22, 23 you have come into that workforce already. So to see that you can have that gap year, it just excite me. And I just told myself that's pretty much the same thing I'm doing. It's just, even though I'm working, but I have this gap year of seeking discomfort and then come back to his normal life.
From when you've spent your time traveling, have you took anything back home with you? Any sort of anything at all? And maybe it could be an idea, etiquette, a certain way to act. Do you behave differently now you've come back and met all these different people and seen all these different cultures?
So when I got back, obviously I changed, my friend. Like I see the whole world in a different perspective, understanding things in a different ideas of compared to how I think before. And after a couple of months, I got back and my mom came to me and said, you know what? You came back for the past couple of months, but you are no longer my son. I said, Mom, I'm still your son. It's just I've grown to a different person. So for me, that's a really powerful statement, just to show that traveling does change me to a different person. Because why? I mean, when I travel, I understand that the meaning of being a Muslim, a family people, a people to the community more, rather than just being this so-called selfish or so full of myself and everything revolve around me. So that, for me, that's a completely different kind of change or leap to make me or turn me into a different person. As I would say, as how you say as well, you are the product of your environment. So I still carry that the same positivity, energy, or the same mindset that I have, that I learned in New Zealand up until now. Because here's the thing, whenever I do feel down, I always say that if I can do it in New Zealand by myself, I still can do it here, man. And I've been doing it for the past 5 years or 6 years. I'm happily married. Like I said, like at any given time, I have a downtime in life. The travel experience taught me how to override it or to counter it or to find a different kind of solution. Because here's the thing, because I believe everyone who travel, especially by themselves and involve themselves around other people, have this kind of thing. Like you always need to have a safe net just for yourself as well, because you have nobody else to depend except for yourself, buddy.
You talked
Right?
a lot about, you've mentioned a number of times these two ideas. One of them, the importance of being outside your comfort zone, and second one, also this mention of this safety net. And they almost seem to be a little bit contradictory. But can you just quickly explain what you mean? What's the importance of being outside your comfort zone, and why does that make the safety net, as you describe it, so important? Also,
because like for me, for my understanding, it's very simple. Like if you're always comfortable in a place where you've always been, you're never going to learn new things. You're never going to use your brain even more in terms of what you always have been doing, because it's already static at that point of time. And then you get used to the ideas of, okay, here we go again, and the routine. That's what I've been doing. So what I mean by going out of the comfort zone is like you're always going to do more for yourself, learn more for yourself, go do things that you never thought of doing yourself. And that's what make you be a better person. And what I meant by this safety net is when I was traveling alone, like I said, I have nobody else to depend except for myself. So regardless of anything that I do, there will still be a limit in terms of for me to be able to step on the ground. Mm-hmm. So that's the idea of like, I still need to have that safety net or like that limit for me to set.
See, and because for me as well, that relates back to the comfort zone, because I'm not sure if you've like seen the comfort zone diagram. I'm not sure who was the creator of it, or like the methodology, ideology of it, is that you've got your comfort zone in the center, and then I think it's your fear zone. So that's the area where you're scared. Maybe in your story, Apeng, that would be telling your father. Once you come through that fear zone, that's where you get into the growth. So that's when you're in New Zealand, you're having all these great times. But sometimes when I've heard people explain it, and some people think that there is actually that fourth zone, the panic zone. So when you've gone too far out of your comfort zone, you think that you're growing, or you'd like to be growing, but you just push it too far. Your journey very much is a manifestation of that example.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man. I mean, it's pretty
Yeah.
much a roller coaster for me. Like when once you're up, sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. You know, for me, those kind of experience, you would do something that you wouldn't do on a daily basis. You know, like for me, I did it for almost a year, and obviously that just really going to change me, because I learn and I face different kind of challenges on daily basis that I never do in my entire life for the past 26 years of my life. You know.
So thanks for sharing all that with us. And this
Cheers, buddy.
conversation
Yes.
has been packed with just some real gems of knowledge. However, if you've been listening to the previous 2 episodes, you'll know that we do like to ask a reoccurring question. And it's quite an interesting one, but it's something what you've not spoken about. However, with your story being in New Zealand and mine, take a guess into which direction it's going to. So are you ready, Apeng?
Ready when you are, my
Question,
friend.
yeah. So, what is the most interesting dance you have seen while you've been traveling?
Dance,
Dance, yeah,
as in dancing.
as in dancing, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I went to this place called Taupo, I think, for a second. So they have these it's like a place for you to can just like pay and watch this heritage dance culture for these New Zealand people. So I can't vividly remember what's the name of the dance. It's like similarity to this Haka of warrior dance, but they have more essence of this tribalness, you know, because that's why I always love the tribal tattoo very much, because every single tattoos have a story of their own. So their dance itself is portraying the closivity of a family and how it strengthened them as a community. So it was a very beautiful, interesting dance for me to see, because you know they have this stick and you know whatever the rock, and it's not something you see on a daily basis, my friend.
No, that's just sound it, and that's what I was hinting at when I said with your story being in New Zealand. I thought it might be the hacker, but to hear that it's like you say, just the togetherness of the family, and I think that's a great way to sum up this conversation of your tale of togetherness, family, learning. Every sort of tattoo has a story. Every movement in the dance is a lifetime within a lifetime, such as your travel. So I think we can leave it there for this episode, but it'd be great to see you again at some point, Apeng, and I'm sure our listeners would love that as well. And so for the time being, if you've enjoyed this, please follow us on Europeers UK. That is EuropeersUK, and you can find this on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, and also if you type Europeers UK into Google, you can find our website where there's all the information you need about how you can have travelling experiences similar to the one Apeng has shared today.